السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري. الله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله الله تعالى بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا. فصلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته واهتدى بهديه إلى يوم الدين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل بدعة ضلالة. My dear respected brothers and sisters, let me begin as always by asking the brothers and sisters to move forward, fill any gaps in front of you, and thereby make room for your brothers who will come late. We also humbly request, as always, that you turn off these cell phones and pagers and other electronic devices which have a tendency to ring at the most inopportune time and disturb us during our ibadah. As you noticed, the brother gave the announcement right before. And as the mu'adhin was giving the adhan, clocks and watches and phones were giving their alarm. Please, brothers, turn off your phones, turn them on silent. And last but not least, I humbly request, as always, that you open your ears, your minds, and your hearts to what I'm about to say. Brothers and sisters, today's sermon centers around community spirit. Community spirit. What does that mean? The willingness and desire to participate with others in activities that promote togetherness and benefit everyone, benefit all concerned, benefit the whole, benefit young and old, male and female, singles and families, born Muslim and reverts. We begin this sermon with a verse from Surah Fatir, the 35th chapter of the Quran, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا إِنَّمَا يَدْعُو حِزْبَهُ لِيَكُونُوا مِنْ أَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. The devil is most certainly to you an avowed enemy. So treat him as an enemy. He merely seeks to invite those who obey him to be inhabitants of the blazing fire. Now you ask, Imam, what does this verse have to do with community spirit? My response is everything. It has everything to do with community spirit. Brothers and sisters, community spirit is good. It is righteous. And every time a believer is called to do anything good, that will bring him closer to Allah. Bring him closer to Allah's pleasure, His pardon, and His paradise. Every time that happens, the devil will whisper evil suggestions and give him or her a million reasons not to do that good thing. And I'm afraid the mic, because I start really low, and then my speech gets elevated, I'm afraid that if we raise the volume too high, we're going to run people out of here. So we got to be careful with that. So in this verse, brothers and sisters, when Allah tells us to take Satan as an enemy, He is telling us, what is He telling us? He's telling us to ignore his suggestions and seize every opportunity afforded to us to do good. He is also telling us by necessity that if we listen to Satan, who's always telling us, don't do that. Why do you want to do that? Why bother with that? He's always telling us not to do the good thing. If we listen to him and we don't do the good things, instead of taking Satan as an enemy, we are taking him as a friend. We are letting him win. We're letting him beat us. So when Allah says, فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا, so treat him as an enemy, it means, oh believer, be smart. Be aware, be vigilant. Expect the devil to try to block your path to Jannah and to stop you from doing the good. Doing the good deeds that will get you there, get you to Jannah. And if you are smart, if you are vigilant, if you see it coming, he can't influence you. You will do the good despite his best efforts to stop you. You will win and Satan will lose. So now let's circle back to community spirit. Muslims working together toward a common objective. Satan definitely doesn't want that. Satan always wants to put a stop to that. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Inna shaytan yanzahu baynahum. The shaytan loves to sow discord between the believers. He loves to make mashakal. He loves to make us disjointed, disunited. Make some of us work and some of us sit down and not work, hoping that they will fail. The shaitan loves that. As the Prophet said in the hadith, وَلَكِنْ فِي التَّحْرِيشِ بَيْنَهُمْ. The shaitan has given up hope that all of you will turn to shirk. All of you will disbelieve. He's given up the hope. That's not going to happen. But the one thing he holds out hope for, the one thing he believes he can achieve, is to divide us, to make us disjointed and to cause discord amongst us. And he has many common suggestions, many common tools that he uses to convince us, brothers and sisters, not to work together, not to participate in community activities, not to support the community initiatives. And in this khutbah, I just want to mention three examples, three very common examples. And we'll mention, inshallah ta'ala, other examples and have a broader discussion of this topic this evening in tonight's program. So one of the suggestions, one of the things that the shaitan does whenever there's a community initiative, whenever we're called upon to work with or for the community, to help the community, one of the first things the shaitan will come and whisper to us is, somebody else will do it. You don't need to worry about that. Someone else will handle that. They're not talking to you. They're talking to the guy next to you. This is what the shaitan does. When that shaitan comes and says that in your ear, when you hear that suggestion, bring to mind the hadith of Jarir, collected by Muslim, when he spoke about the people from the tribe of Mudar. He mentioned that one day some people from the tribe of Mudar, they came to the masjid, large group of people. They came into the masjid and stood at the back of the masjid, and their poverty, their indigence was apparent. It was right there on display for everyone to see. Jarir talks about people who they were barefoot, barely clothed, some of them wearing woolen rags, some of them with a wool blanket wrapped around themselves, no sleeves, barely covering their private parts. Their condition was pitiful. And people were coming and going in and out of the masjid, seeing their pitiful condition, their clear need for assistance, and nobody was helping them. فَتَمَعَّرَ وَجْهُ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. So the Prophet ﷺ became visibly upset. He didn't like that. He didn't like the fact that there was a need for help and nobody was helping. So he gave them a maw'ibah. He gave them a khutbah. Start telling them about how they should give and support and prepare themselves for the last day when they'll be asked about these deeds and these opportunities. And in the course of that maw'ibah, and this is what we're talking about, ya ikhwan. We ask kindly and nicely, shut off the phones, turn them on silent, and invariably it will happen. And it disturbs the Imaam. It disturbs the people around you. Please, brothers and sisters, we shouldn't even need to be told. We know we're coming to the mosque. We know we're coming to khutbah. We know we're entering the musalla. Turn it off, please. Jazakumullah khairan. So the Prophet ﷺ gave this maw'ibah. He's admonishing them, encouraging them to think about something, not to be oblivious, to see what's going on, see the need and be proactive. And in the course of that maw'ibah, he told them, he said, تَصَدَّقْ رَجُلٌ مِنْ دِنَارٍ وَمِنْ دِرْهَمٍ وَمِنْ ثَوْبٍ وَمِنْ صَاعِ بُرِّهِ وَمِنْ صَاعِ تَمْرِهِ إِلَى أَنْ قَالَ وَلَوْ بِشِقِّ تَمْرَةٍ. He said, let a man give. Give from his gold, give from his silver, give from his garments, spare garments. Give from his measure of wheat, his measure of dates. Until he said, let a person give from whatever he has, even if all he has is a piece of a date. What do we see in this hadith, brothers and sisters? We see that everybody was waiting for someone else to do something. And consequently, nobody did anything. And that's what happens. When everybody says, somebody else will do it, somebody else will do it, nobody does it. It won't get done. Somebody's got to say, I will do it. And this upset the Prophet ﷺ. He was visibly upset. And this teaches us that when the shaitan comes to us and he says, and he will come and he will say, somebody else will do it, our response should be, I am somebody. I am somebody else. I will do it. I won't wait for somebody else. I will do it. Another suggestion that the shaitan will come with, brothers and sisters, invariably, whenever we're called upon to help the community, to volunteer the community, to support the community. The first thing one of the common suggestions or whispers of the shaitan is he says, think of yourself. Say I. Say me. I have kids. I have a job. I have a wife. I have a life outside of the masjid. I need to clean my fish tank. I need to rake the leaves up in my front yard. I need to go grocery shopping. I can't because there's a football game on today and I want to watch it. I. Brothers and sisters, we live in the age where everything is I. iPad, iPod, iPhone. I, me. And we as Muslims, unfortunately, get influenced by our self-centered environment and wind up listening to Satan, who encourages us to think about no one but ourselves. Brothers and sisters, when we hear that voice, and we will hear that voice, that tells us, think about yourself, say I, say me. We have to remind ourselves our religion is not a religion of I and me. It is a religion of us and we. Muslims are supposed to. It's part of being Muslim. Islam is not just a prayer that we make 5 times a day, a fast that we do once a year. It's part of being a Muslim. It's supposed to be ingrained in our DNA to think of others beyond ourselves. Think of how our actions or lack of action will affect others, not just ourselves. The Prophet said in the hadith of Al-Nu'man, مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم كمثل الجسد الواحد إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى له سائر الجسد بالسهر والحمى. He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the likeness of the believers in terms of their mutual love, compassion, and fellow feeling is the likeness of a single body. If one of its limbs feels pain, the rest of the body shares in its suffering through sleeplessness and fever. And he said in the other hadith, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. Essentially what it means, none of you truly believes until he learns to think of someone besides himself. And the wording here, brothers and sisters, is very significant. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى. None of you is really a believer until he does this. Prophet is telling us it's not your birth certificate that makes you a believer. It's not being born of Muslim parents that makes you a true believer. Rather, what makes you a true believer is possessing these qualities which are central to our faith. If we want to be true believers, if we want to deserve and earn that name, that title that Allah has connected, linked to success, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Successful are the believers. Who are those believers who are successful? The ones who have this quality. If we want to be from those people, then we need to be more involved. More involved in the community. More involved with helping the Muslims. More involved in helping the masjid. So when Satan comes to one of us and he says, and he will come and he will say I. Say me. It's all about you, he says. We should respond, no, I must, as a Muslim, think of others. It's not about me. It's about we. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. I promised you 3 suggestions. I'm going to give you the 3rd, and I'm going to get you out of here, inshallah ta'ala. When we're called, brothers and sisters, to participate in community activities, there's another common suggestion and whisper that the shaitan uses to convince us not to do that good thing. What he'll do is he'll say, what good would that do? What's the benefit of that? That's too small. It's too minor. It's too trivial to make an impact. Why bother? Sometimes, brothers and sisters, we want to do something good. But Satan convinces us not to do it by trivializing it. For example, one of us leaves the hall after Salatul Jummah, motivated, inspired by the khutbah, reaches in his pocket to see what little money he has to give, thought he had a 20, thought he had a 50, ends up he has like $4 or $5. Goes to just throw that in the sadaqah box. The shaitan comes and says, come on, $4 or $5, what's that going to do? What impact is that going to have? What well is that going to dig? What bathroom is that going to renovate? What foundation for a new masjid is that going to lay? You're better off buying a sandwich for yourself with that. What's the use? What's the benefit? This is trivial. You're wasting your time. This is what the shaitan does, but what we have to do, we have to be smart. Al-mu'min kayyisun fatab. The Muslim is smart. He's more intelligent. He's not going to fall for that trick. We have to know. There's enough textual evidence for us to know that sometimes the smallest deed, brothers and sisters, the one that we consider to be trivial, is the one that is weightiest on the scales. The one that tips the scales in our favor. Sometimes the smallest deed in our eyes is the biggest deed in the eyes of Allah because of what? Because of our ikhlas. Because of our ikhlas, because of our sincerity. As the Prophet said in the hadith, لا تحقرن من المعروف شيئا. Don't belittle a single good deed. And he went on to say, even smiling in the face of your brother is a major, monumental deed in the sight of Allah. You might go on the day of judgment and find yourself in this makana aliyah, this lofty station. You say, oh Allah, how did I reach the station? I wasn't one of the people who prayed a lot. I didn't fast a lot. I didn't give a lot in charity. How did I reach the station, oh Allah? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might respond to you because you always met your brothers with a smiling face. You thought it was small, but to Allah it was what? Woe indallahi azim. It was a big deal to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when the Satan comes to us, brothers and sisters, when shaitan comes to us, and he will come to us, and he'll say, come on, why bother? It's not a big enough deal, it's too trivial. He's going to do that. You're wasting your time. When he does that, we should say, no. This trivial deed could be the deed that tips the scales in my favor. And we know this to be true because we have too many examples. For example, the famous hadith of the Prophet ﷺ said, بينما رجل يمشي بطريق فوجد غصن شوك فأخذه أي أبعده فشكر الله له فغفر له. He said a man was walking along a path. And as he was walking, he came across a thorny branch of a bush. He said to himself, somebody could step on this and hurt themselves. So let me remove it from the path. Think about that. Is that a big deal? Thorny bush, pushes it aside, kept it moving. He probably wasn't even thinking about that. But you know what happened? The Prophet said, فَشَكَرَ اللَّهُ لَهُ فَغَفْرَ لَهُ. Allah appreciated what he did and forgave all of his sins. Wiped his slate clean for moving the branch of a bush. Even more famous than that, driving home the point even more strongly is the hadith where the Prophet mentioned a man walking along a path. Thirsty. In dire need of water to quench his thirst. So he came across a well. Went into the well, got some water, quenched his thirst and came out. فَإِذَا كَلْبٌ يلهث يأكل الثراء من العطش. But when he came out of the well, what did he find? A dog. A dog panting from heat, thirsty, licking the moist soil around the well trying to quench its thirst. And the man said, this dog is thirsty the way I was thirsty. Now he could have said, it's a dog, who cares? And kept going. No, he went into the well, filled his sock with water, put the sock in his teeth so he could climb out of the well and not spill the water, and gave water to the dog. You think to yourself, well, what's the big deal? That's trivial, right? It was a big deal to Allah. فَشَكَرَ اللَّهُ لَهُ وَغَفَرَ لَهُ وَفِي رِوَايَةٍ فَأَدْخَلَهُ اللَّهُ الْجَنَّةِ. Allah appreciated what he did, forgave his sins, wiped his slate clean. And one of the versions of the hadith, Allah entered him into paradise for giving water to a dog. Brothers and sisters, we can't be fooled by the shaitan. We have to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be pleased with some of these minor deeds because of our sincerity and make them major. And so when the opportunity is given to us, we need to seize it. And there's going to be an opportunity tomorrow, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Tomorrow we're going to try to scrub this masjid and organize this masjid to make it look like a masjid before Ramadan. And we need all the helping hands we can give. And I don't want you to let shaitan convince you somebody else will do it. I don't want shaitan to convince you to say I, me. And I don't want you to let shaitan convince you what's sweeping up a room going to do. Come out tomorrow, support your mosque. We'll be here from 10 to 4, 6 hours. We're not asking anyone to do 6 hours. We don't want anyone to be here for the entirety. Give us 30 minutes. Give us a half an hour and bring your kids. Make it a family affair. Show them your proper example. Don't tell them about supporting the mosque. Show them this is what we're about. As a family, we're going to come here and do something for our mosque. Let them see your example. See you put your hands in the dirt. Roll your sleeves up for the sake of Allah. One last announcement before we close. Dr. Jamal, some of you know him. He comes here for the prayers. His wife Gail, she recently took the Shahada and became a Muslim. And then shortly after that, she became very, very ill. And just this past week, she passed away. And it is our fear, because of the circumstances surrounding that no one will pray for her. And you guys know in the deen of Allah, min haqq al-Muslim, it's from the right of a Muslim that they should have a funeral. A proper prayer. A prayer that could be a shafi'ah, an intercessor for them. And so, inshallah ta'ala, because this is permissible under these circumstances, we're going to pray salat al-janaza ghaibatan. So basically what we're going to do is, after Salat al-Jum'ah, we're going to offer Salat al-Janaza for her in absentee. So please, if you can, if you have time, after we finish the salam from Salat al-Jum'ah, we'll stand up and we'll do the Janaza. As you guys know, it's arba takbirat and 1 taslim. And then we'll be done with the ceremony or with the service. So please stay with us if you can. اللهم اعز الاسلام والمسلمين وذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر اعداءك اعداء المله والدين وانصر عبادك الموحدين يا رب العالمين. اللهم من ارادنا او اراد ديننا أو إخوان المسلمين في أي مكان بسوء فأشغله في نفسه واجعل كيده في نحره واجعل تدبيره تدميرا عليه يا قوي يا عزيز. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وقوموا إلى صلاتكم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Just give us one more minute, please.
Janaza prayer.
Don't rush out. Listen to the khutbah. Take heed from the khutbah. There are some center announcements that I want to make. Again, this is our community center. We have an Imam. We're trying to do everything to make this community center and this community strong. And we need all of y'all help in that. Ramadan is fast approaching. It's less than a week away. That is the most important month of Islam. That is when everybody comes to the masjid. So we need you all to also help us make this a successful Ramadan. Come to the tarawihs, come to the iftars, bring your family. There will be a lot to do this weekend as of tomorrow, as Imam was saying. From 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we are cleaning the masjid. We are organizing the masjid. Bring yourselves, your family. Bring your mops, bring your sponges, bring your vacuums. We're going to clean the masjid. Come for, if you can even give us half an hour, come for half an hour and help. Again, 10 to 4 this weekend. MashaAllah, the community did come together. We were able to get the TVs that we needed. We've been able to hang them and purchase them. A reminder that the first night of Ramadan is Wednesday, March 22nd, and that will be the first day of Tarawih. So after Isha, we will have Tarawih here in the masjid. The first day of fasting will be on Thursday, March 23rd. There will be an iftar every night of Ramadan, and the first iftar will be here Thursday. All of the iftars are sponsored. If you have not sponsored an iftar and wish to donate, then donate $100 or $200. But all of the iftars have been sponsored. If you wish to bring food, please contact the people who have sponsored. We don't want to have excess. We don't want those sponsors to have excess food that they have to do something with. God forbid they have to throw it away. So please, if you wish to bring food or excess, speak to the sponsors. The list is outside. A lesson we've learned, not just from last iftar, last Ramadan, but every Ramadan. We waste water. It's unbelievable how much water we waste. If you know of the volunteers at the end of the day that pick up those waters and have to do something with it, some of them get thrown away. And that, again, you know that is a sin. There are people that cannot get enough water in this world, and we are throwing bottles and bottles of water away. So to help mitigate this, we have encouraging you to bring your reusable water bottles. The masjid is actually having a fundraising with reusable pick water bottles. We will be selling those. They're 24-ounce water bottles during Ramadan. There's a $10 donation. Buy one, put your name on it, bring it every single night so you don't waste bottles and water. Tonight, as you know, we're having the recurring Friday night program with the Imaam after Maghrib, the studying the sermon. It will be more in-depth conversation on today's Jummah topic. Tomorrow after Maghrib, we'll continue with the Halaqa Sabit, the Saturday circle, with the Imam, so please plan to attend. And the Sunday school has a Quran memorization conflict, so there's a flyer that's coming out. So there is also a brother that wants to take Shahada, so please stay for that. We'll have the Imam and we'll have the brother come up to take Shahada. Thank you all for staying. All of you that stayed and listened, thank you very, very much. This is our community. We have a very, very important month coming up. It's important that we get these announcements out. If there are those people who did not stay or could not stay, please let them know. And bring your family. Let's enjoy. Let's make this month full of this masjid full every single night. Every night till the morning. Let's stay in prayer. Let's stay together. So brothers and sisters, we're going to have the Shahada. Brother Imam is going to do that. So the brother who is going to take Shahada. Okay. What's your name, brother? Kenneth. Kenneth is going to... Okay. We have another brother. Who's the other brother?
We have three altogether.
What's your name, brother? Quintavious. And then? Darren. So mashallah, we have three brothers. Individually?
No, we're going to do them all together.
Okay. So we're going to do them all together.
Okay, so we have Brother Kenneth, Brother Darren, and we're my man, okay, and they want to become Muslims. Now, whenever I do this, I never like to just give the person the Shahada and send them on their way. So basically, we want to make sure that they understand what they're signing up for. Because it doesn't make sense for somebody to say, hey, I'm just intrigued by the way you dress. I'm intrigued by some of the snacks that you guys serve in Ramadan. I'm intrigued by, the way your women dress. And so I want to be Muslim. Because is that really for the core of Islam? That's not the core of Islam, right? So we want to make sure we know what it is. I'm going to say it really briefly and quickly so that we can get this done. So basically, Islam, at its core, is certain rituals, certain fundamental things that Muslims do. And it's also certain core things that the Muslims believe. So min jihad al-Iman, from the point of view of the things that the Muslims believe, there are basically 6 fundamental beliefs. Doesn't mean these are only beliefs. Doesn't mean there's not going to be other things you can be asked, told, people believe this too, and you have to believe it. But there are 6 fundamental beliefs. The first one is Iman Abd'Llah, believing in Allah. Believing is oneness, absolute oneness. His oneness in terms of the actions that he does. There are certain things he does that only he can do. And believing in his oneness in terms of his names and attributes, certain things by which he's called, and nobody else should be called by those names, like Allah. And believing, man, you and this snake, brother. I know, brother. All right, so, and believing in his oneness from the point of view of the acts that we do. Actions that should only be directed towards him, like prayer, the prayer that you saw us do. And the fasting we're going to do in a few days. And other acts of worship that we give that should only be directed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We believe in His oneness and only He is entitled to those things. It's also believing in His angels. Unseen beings created from light that obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that are all around us. Protect us and they serve other functions. Believing in them. Even though we can't see it, we believe in it. And all the prophets have taught that believe in the angels. Believe in the divine scriptures. The final testament of those scriptures being the Quran. And it aggregates all the previous scriptures. So we don't read the Bible and seek guidance with the Bible, because everything in the Bible that's true is in the Quran. And the Quran corrects the falsehoods in the Bible. We also believe in the prophets and messengers, all of them. Those who are mentioned in the Quran, those who are mentioned in the Quran, we believe in all of them. And the final one of them is Prophet Muhammad, who is the God, directly, together with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who we have to follow. Let's follow his example. And we believe in the last day. Everything that happens to a person after death. And we believe in something that we call the Qada wal Qadar, divine decree, predestination. Everything that happens was decreed by Allah and written by Allah and was destined to happen 50,000 years before creation of heaven. Now, those 6 beliefs, do those sound like things that you want to believe in, that you can believe in, you can embrace fully? Absolutely. And once you believe in those things, there are certain things we're expected to do. One of them is we make a pact with Allah. That's what you're going to do today. We say the Shahada, the pact where we testify that there's no deity worthy of worship except Allah and Muhammad is the messenger. Meaning we're going to follow Muhammad. After we make this pact, we're expected to pray 5 times a day. And there's going to be a learning curve. It's going to take you some time, but you're going to learn. Why? Because you're going to come. You're not going to disappear after taking the Shahada. You're going to come and we're going to teach you how to pray. And we'll work with you and help you. And I was in your shoes. I had to learn how to pray. And it can be done. And you can master it. The next thing we have to do is we have to give zakat if we have supplement of money. Meaning if we have a certain amount of money beyond our needs for a whole year, we're supposed to give a small portion of it, 2.5%. We give it away to a poor and needy. The next thing that we do is this fasting from Ramadan that we're going to start doing next week. Fasting for a whole month doesn't mean that we don't eat for a whole month. It just means that during the daytime we don't eat, we don't drink, and we don't have relationships with our spouses. But once the evening comes, we can do those things until the next. And if you're a smoker, we can't do that. But the last of these pillars is a Hajj, pilgrimage. That we make a pilgrimage once in a lifetime to Mecca, the holiest place on earth, and we do certain rituals. Do these sound like things that you're ready to sign up for? And try your best to do those things, and we will help you to the best of our ability. Now, the last thing I want to say is this: what commonly happens is people, they read about Islam, they engage in it as a Muslim, they come to the masjid and they do what you guys do. And the Muslims hug them and embrace them and they're so happy for them, and then they disappear. Don't disappear. Don't disappear, because once you make this pact, if you made a pact with another human being, they would hold you to that pact. And they would feel a certain type of way if you didn't keep your end of the bargain. Okay, you're making a pact with who? So this is a serious thing that you're entering on. You understand that, right? So if you guys are ready, I'm ready. So repeat after me. I'm going to say it in Arabic, I'm going to say it in English, and you're going to be Muslim, you're going to be our brother, you're going to be part of our family. Repeat after me. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. And la ilaha illallah. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. I testify. I bear witness. I openly proclaim without any coercion that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. And I testify that Muhammad is his slave, his servant, and his messenger.
I have one more final announcement. Just one more announcement. There's a brother of the community, Brother Fahad Jafri. His grandfather passed away last night, Brother Riyaz, and so please, we ask for his forgiveness, forgive his sins. We ask for him to have a place in Jannah for those. Give him the highest place in Jannah for those, and shower his grave with the blessings and the nur of Jannah. please pray for him and his family and Sabr to his family. Thank you. One more thing. I need all the strong boys and men. We need to move audio equipment from the Imam's office. We have a truck, so please, if you could join us in the back Imam's office so that we can move that equipment. It's heavy, so that we need the strong men and women as well if they want to help. But the boys and men, please come to the Imam's office.
Did the dumpster come? Yeah, 24 कैरेट तो नहीं है
नहीं ये actually 18 कैरेट है. Enough for a day's work. Enough for a day's work. The gold on there is just enough for a day's work.
It looks nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks
You
nice.
have to face the cat on this.
Yeah. It always, we'll see when we're at Head towards the
I tried to come here, they came now. My left is something close to now. I don't have to go back to work anymore. I have all my Fridays
So if you could come to prayers, everybody's okay. So we talk about God and just make sure everybody's on the same page and the hour we come backwards. So I'll leave it also. So
Perfect.
Islam.